Thank you so much for clicking on this link. And if you were able to join us at the annual business session one, meeting session one, thank you for watching this again. And if you were unable to, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to express on the board's behalf some of the exciting things that are coming down the pipe for us as a church family. Because this really is a place for you. And I wanted to begin by just saying thank you. The truth is, we're in a great place as a church family. We're seeing lives transformed. We're seeing thousands of people come into our building, and all of that is possible because of your generosity, your belief in a God who can do great things, and your prayer. So thank you. But I also want to bring you up to speed on where we're at right now. And so Pete Drost, who is the chair of the Central Niagara Board and on our Central Community Church Board, recently just had a passion or a vision for something that needs to take place. And it was rooted in the story that we've talked about a lot here at Central in this whole journey, the last 13 years of getting to where we are today. And it's the story of Joshua. And of course, we talk about the story of Joshua, how God, through incredible miracles, parted the Jordan River, knocked down Jericho walls. There were a few bumps in the road like Ai, but at the end of the day, this was the fulfillment of a promise that God had given the people of Israel. They would have a land of their own. And so we come to this chapter in Joshua chapter 18, verses 1 and 3. And here's what we read. It says, the whole assembly of the Israelites gathered at Shiloh and set up the tent of meeting there. Again, God's power and presence. We believe in that. The country was brought under their control, so they were in possession of the land, but there were still 7 Israelite tribes who had not yet received their inheritance. In other words, the job wasn't done. So Joshua said to the Israelites, how long will you wait before you begin to take possession of the land that the Lord, the God of your ancestors, has given you? And Pete said when he read this passage, it just struck him that we still have work to do, that the job is not done. We love our facility. We are grateful for it, but there are still dreams and visions to complete this project. And we're almost there. We're almost there. For me, the parable I want to share with you today is found in Luke chapter 16, verses 8 and 13. And Jesus tells this really interesting parable. It's a bit hard to understand, but it's powerful when you get it. Jesus says, the master commanded the dishonest manager. Now, to give you context, this manager realizes his boss is going to fire him. So he comes up with a plan. His plan is, I'll go to all my boss's debtors, I'll alleviate the debt or reduce the debt, and then when I lose my job, they'll be thankful for what I did for them and they'll take care of me. So that was the story that Jesus tells, and then he unpacks it. He says the master commended the dishonest manager. What? He found out that he'd ripped him off, and he commends him because he had acted shrewdly. That's going to be important in a minute. For the people of this world are more shrewd in dealing with their own kind than are the people of the light. I tell you, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourselves, so that when it is gone, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. So, if you've not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches? And if you've not been trustworthy with someone else's property, who will give you property of your own? No one can serve 2 masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. So many times we unpack this last part of the verse, but this isn't just about money. This is about what we do with everything God has given us. So what does this story mean for us today, right now? Well, I want to give you a few points to ponder. The first is, Jesus is not talking about the character of the story, members. No, God is not saying be dishonest. He's not talking about that or how the manager dealt with it. He's talking about what they did. So that's important. Second, I think Jesus is saying, sadly, unbelievers tend to be better at investing in the things of this world than believers are about the things of the world to come. He's just making an observation. Many of us, when it comes to our physical resources, go, how can I leverage this to make more, right? And many in our world are very good at that. But when it comes to believers, how good are we at leveraging things for the world to come, the kingdom of God? Jesus is encouraging his followers to be generous with their wealth in this life, so that in the life to come, their new friends will receive them into eternal dwellings. This is the powerful truth of the story. when we get to heaven, I don't think our reward is going to be a golden crown with blue sapphires and green emeralds and red rubies. That might be great, but when the streets are paved with gold, that would be like putting concrete on your head. It doesn't matter. I think the true reward will be those who say, thank you. Thank you because you invested your time, your talent, and your treasure. I am here today because you were willing to use what God gave you to give me the opportunity to know him. I am in heaven with you forever. That's the reward. Just like that old song we used to do human drama to, thank you for giving to the Lord. It's true. That will be your reward. And I don't know about you, but that's something worth investing in. And Jesus thought so as well. The principle Jesus teaches is that everything we own should be used to further God's kingdom. Now, don't take my word for it. Here's Jesus, how he interpreted it himself. He said, here's the lesson. Use your worldly resources to benefit others and make friends. Then when your possessions are gone, they will welcome you to an eternal home. Or as John Piper said it this way, here's the basic point. Don't worry about being a shrewd investor in this age, where you can provide a future that will only fail. Why? Because you can't take it with you, right? Instead, be a shrewd investor by investing in people's lives. Use your resources to do as much good as you can for the glory of God and the eternal good of others who will go before you and welcome you home. And so here's this really challenging point, right? I had to ask myself, how am I using the things that God has given me, my time and talent and treasure? And are those things really making a difference by investing in people for eternity? And so this is what this space was all about. We built a building, not because we needed a bigger space, although we did. And it wasn't just for our church, although it is. It was for people who did not yet know God. That was the whole idea, the vision. It's why we built community spaces, so that thousands of people could come, and as a result of coming, maybe make that leap, the next step, make it an easier step to hear the message of who Jesus is and what he wanted to do in their life. And so 13 years ago, we started with a vision. And again, we bought a piece of property out in York Road. At the time, there wasn't much around here. And so I remember people going, why way out there in the middle of nowhere? But God knew, didn't he? God knew that we would have this incredible diamond interchange. God knew that this would be the fastest growing area in Niagara. God knew that this would actually be closer to a lot of the people who would be coming, whether from Niagara Falls or Welland or Niagara on the Lake or even Fort Erie. God knew. And so he gave us this idea. This is God's vision. He knew we needed to build a bigger space, a space that was welcoming and inviting. And so as a result of your faithfulness and your obedience, we were able to see the beginning of this dream come to reality. Here are some of the results. We currently have an 1,800-seat auditorium with 300 seats in the balcony. Can I just encourage you with something? This past Saturday, I came into the building. I was doing a dance class with my grandson. Yes, he gets priority. If grandson wants to do it, Papa comes. And that's true of all of us, right? But because I was here, I saw 700 people in this space for a volleyball tournament. Our lobby was full. The balcony with 300 seats packed. Kids everywhere, people everywhere, asking the question, what is this place? We were able to, I met a family brand new to the area, not churched at all. I was able to have conversations about what this building was. I know some of our staff were giving tours to people, explaining what happens here on a Sunday. And that happened because we built a space for our community. We built a welcoming environment with a parking lot that was big enough to accommodate our growth, landscaping and a lobby that's welcoming. I love our lobby. And I love it on Sunday mornings because we hang around and we talk to each other now. Also an amazing area for next generation. Everything we did was to pass on a legacy, give something for the next generation to bring the kingdom of God to earth and a community space, including our kitchen. And it's happening. It is happening because of what you and I believe together could be possible. And so what's the impact? Well, we have a childcare and it's already at capacity. We can handle 60 kids, but we have 450 people on a waiting list. We still have so much more opportunity. Second, we've seen volleyball and dance and pickleball every day of the week. Just walking in here to record this today, I heard the sound of pickleball. It was fantastic. People who would never cross the threshold of a church are coming into our space and rubbing shoulders with followers of Jesus. And community events. We had over 5,000 people through our building just last year alone in our first year and a half of operation. It is making a difference. And we've increased capacity for Sunday mornings. We're growing in that number. We now are currently averaging about 1,850, almost 1,900 people in person. And we have about 600 people watching online every week for about 2,500. And then we even have people watching throughout the week. Many people who can't make it here on a Sunday for work or whatever reason are watching. You are making a difference because of what you believe. So what is our vision? Well, it's not done. And this is what I want to talk to you about really quickly. First, I want to talk about our opportunity. We're seeing incredible growth in all of our next gen ministry, all the way from kids through the childcare and our kids ministries on Sunday mornings, all the way through junior youth, senior youth, young adults. That area is growing, and we need to increase the space and capacity for that to happen. We also have an increased opportunity for community connection. Right now, we have lots of people who want to rent our space, but we don't have it. We're literally starting to get booked up. Here's the really fascinating part. We are actually so booked up that we rent the church next door to us, and we use that church every night of the week because this space is full and that space is full. That's how quickly we're growing. I think we use their church more than they use their church, but that's for another time. But there's also greater experience on Sunday mornings. If you've been coming, you know something is happening, something is stirring. I still meet people every week who are in church for the very first time, literally. And whether it's the first time because they're coming into the area and they find out through a friend, or they're just seeking, it is happening. So what do we want to do? Well, I want to talk about that. We want to continue to build a place for our church family. And so I'm going to show you, okay, let me not get ahead of myself. I want to show you an idea. Now, what I'm about to show you, I always hesitate at this point because some of you are going to go hang on to an idea, a picture, a concept, and go, that's exactly what it's going to look like. No. These are the concepts. This is what is possible. So I want to talk about, first of all, Sunday mornings. Of course, you know that we built a gym. And that was the right move. That was the right move because we literally have hundreds of people in here every day. And that's what we wanted. But we also know, because it's a gym, sound is a bit of an issue. So if you come on a Sunday morning, you might say, oh, the sound's a little echoey. Well, yeah, that's because it's in a gym. But we can solve that. And we knew that. When we built this place, we had to make a couple of cuts in order to accommodate getting into the building. Again, COVID was rough on all of us. I'm not blaming COVID. I'm just stating the fact. We had to make some tough decisions. And one of those tough decisions was taking some of the resources and using it in a way that was most effective, realizing that we couldn't do the sound baffles on the ceiling or on the walls. But we know we need to do that. So again, just like the story of Joshua, it's not quite done yet. There's still work to be done. So we want to put sound baffles in. We also recognize that we love having pickleball and volleyball, but volleyballs and pickleballs are not good on our gear, our equipment, our lights, our cameras, our musical instruments. So we need to build a barrier that separates us. I know Jesus tore the veil, but we need a barrier between our expensive equipment and the great things that are happening in our community space. We also want to increase our lobby presence and appeal. I know the lobby looks great. So again, this was an early concept of what the lobby could look like. But as you can see, there's still pieces that need to be added. We need to increase our ability to help people find where you go to get connected. We need to increase the appeal of our cafe. Our vision is still to have a cafe that's open all the time. How people find their way, we need to increase that. And of course, speaking of our cafe, I love IKEA, but those black IKEA chairs are not the most comfortable and they're not the most durable. We want a space that says we thought of you and we're inviting you in. One of the great things that's happening on Sunday mornings is people are starting to use the cafe to build relationship and connection to God and to each other. And so we want to increase that appeal. Also, again, if you've been to our building, you'll know that our kids area is on the main floor, but on the second floor above it, right now it's completely open. So I want to show you what we're dreaming of. I already explained the fact that right now, one of our biggest challenges is we have more groups who want to meet than we have current capacity to meet that need. And so we're renting the church next to us to meet that need. We also have increased need for youth and young adults and next gen. So this is conceptually what we have drawn up, what we could do with that space above. Just like we have auditorium B, this would become auditorium C. We'd have another auditorium space. This is huge. And these rooms each can seat between 100 and 150 people. Right now, we're limited. Conferences want to come in. And we can't because we don't have enough breakout rooms. We don't have enough rooms for our life groups. We don't have enough rooms for some of the next gen ministries that need to take place. This would solve that. Plus, we have renters who, if we built this space, would be willing to rent it when we are not using it. We're missing some of our amazing opportunities. We also want to build a place for children. If you know our next gen team, they're amazing. And your kids love coming. We're so glad. But again, the original vision was to have a space that kids owned. They said, this is my space. They knew it was their space. It was branded as their space. And we all know one simple truth about us. Whatever the kids want, parents will accommodate. We just know that. If a child wants to come to church on a Sunday morning, the parents and grandparents will come on a Sunday morning. If the child wants to be a part of that daycare, that dance studio, that volleyball court, whatever it is, parents will do that. And so we want to build a space that says, hey kids, we thought of you. We thought of you. So again, this is just a concept, but this is what we'd like to do. We know that there are simple ways that we could make an industrial looking building look like a kid-friendly space, because that's what we are all about, the next generation. We also know that we need to build some play structures, a space for kids to play. And this was always a part of the original plan. Again, we just didn't have the resources yet to do that. And we know that if we build a space for kids to come, our community will come here. If you don't believe me, especially in the summer, just drive around the city and look at places where there are kid-friendly zones. It's packed every time. And we want to be a place that is packed with families. Also want to talk about a place for our community. Again, we've done the best we can with what we had, and I believe God is honoring that. But we don't even really have good signage on the outside. People often drive by and go, I'm not exactly sure what that is or what's happening in there. We want to change that by, again, letting people know what we're all about. This is one of the most exciting ideas that we have. Again, we know that people love to get together, especially around food. And so our vision is to build an outdoor patio to increase our cafe. So once that thing is completed, it will feel like a cafe. I mean, the truth is, you go to your special coffee place because there's something there for you. And we want to build that here too. What would it look like if we had people in the space all the time, talking with one another, and as a result, being introduced to our space, a space where we honor God? And so that's outdoor. We also have a whole back property that we're working on developing. We've got so much opportunity. So what are we going to do about it? How are we going to reach this goal? Let me just quickly share that with you. I do appreciate your time. Thanks for sticking with me. The first is we've done a capital expense prioritization. We know that to finish the auditorium the way we originally envisioned it, it's going to cost about $300,000. We also know that there's that undeveloped area upstairs, that plan I showed you. It's going to cost about $1 million. We're going to need to put a new elevator, a better elevator. The service elevator will still be there, but that was always designed just as a service elevator. That's why it's pretty slow, 90 seconds to be exact, from the bottom to the top. We need another elevator. We also need all kinds of bathrooms and all that structure. So that's going to take about $1 million. We also want to expand our kids area. We could, if we expanded our childcare today, we'd fill every spot. Any spot we can make available, kids would come. That's going to cost about $200,000. Also, we want to complete our lobby. I showed you that. That's going to be about $200,000. The exterior enhancements, the signage, some of the stuff you see here around that we still need to finish, about $300,000 for a total of $2 million. And again, I know that looks like a significant number, but believe me, we have seen God do so much more already. We know that this is possible. So the question is, well, how are we going to do it? Well, we already met with what we called early adopters, people who have built a track record with us and a history with us of incredible generosity. And as a result of that, we received 31 gifts to date for $430,000. We're already a quarter of the way there towards that $2 million goal. And then on this past Sunday at the annual business meeting, we invited our partners, and that's you included, to be a part of the next phase. we broke it down. How could we realize this? If we were to raise 500,000 from early adopters and the money keeps coming in for that, I believe we're going to hit that target. How could we, as the partners, those who are invested, believe in the vision and mission of Central, accomplish this? Well, again, if we had 2 gifts of $50,000, and I know someone's watching who could do that today. 5 gifts of $25,000, 10 gifts of 10, 25 gifts of 3, 67 gifts of 1.5. I know it's not quite, it's 505K, but basically to break it down, if we had people who were able to give, whether it's monthly or a one-time big significant gift, that would help us accomplish this goal. And so we're looking for gifts that are within a 1-year time frame. So you may be able to give monthly for 12 months or a one-time gift, but we need to realize that and know what that is. So we're going. We're making this happen. It's gonna happen. We are just inviting you to be a part of it. And then in January, we're hoping that we'll have raised $1 million, and we're going to invite our entire congregation in the month of January to match this $1 million so we can reach that $2 million goal. We can do this. We can do it if we do it together and believe that God is in this. So as you think about that, here's my simple request. If you need to watch this again, please do. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'd love to answer those questions. If you have a comment or a concern, we are here for you. But here's all I'm asking today. 1, ask God, what would you have me do? That's it. I don't want you to feel any guilt or pressure. I don't. I want this to be a joyful expression because this, in my opinion, is an opportunity. It is an amazing opportunity to make a difference. And just like that parable of the shrewd servant, I want to be someone who uses what God has given me to make a difference in eternity. And I know you do too. So simply ask God, what do you want me to do? And then courageously obey. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for believing in a God who is going to change and transform the Niagara region through your and my faithfulness.